Hi guys, so Jason from JVA Carpy Adventures, and you join me on Friday 16th of Feb for my first time on Linear's Hunt's Corner. So I've never been to this lake before guys. I've been to Linear a couple of times. I think we did St John's and I did Oxley's. Never caught anything here, so really hopeful to get a fish this time for you guys. I'm going to show you the swimming all in a minute, but for now let's just roll that intro. Alright guys, so like I said, it's 10 o'clock Friday the 16th of Feb. Just done 2 barrel loads round to the swim because it's really muddy. In fact, Oxley's is closed at the minute because it's partly flooded. The banks are really high just behind me. There is more rain coming in, so it's going to be a wet and muddy weekend. So I did 2 barrel loads, so not to weigh it too much down, and got over here, so I'm really hot and sweaty and I need to get set up obviously. But before I do, I thought I'd show you the swim, show you the condition of it. You know, if you're coming in these sort of conditions, it'd be nice to see what it's like. I'm probably going to have to spend most of my weekend in the waders, I'm guessing. One, to probably get a good cast out to where I need to, and then obviously if you need to play a fish, I'm going to need to be out quite a bit. So let's show you that guys. Alright guys, so first off I'll just show you all my gear, everything there. As you can see, where you'd probably want to have your bivvy, you can probably hear that, it's all squelchy, all muddy, and you probably don't want to put a bivvy here. So the water is quite a way up, sort of from here, and goes out. You might just be able to see the corner of where the platform is, just out there guys. So I'm not going to be able to get anywhere near that. Like I said, nearly fell. I'm on Hunt's Corner Pig 9 guys, so it's going to be perilous conditions this weekend. I've got a nice bit of water behind me. I don't know if I would have said it, but just walking around with a second barrel load, stopped to see Connor, who's in peg 10, so just up from me, well, quite a way up from me actually. They're not anywhere close to each other, and I kid you not, a 35-pound plus dark brown leather just boshed out, literally a rod length out from where he is. Absolutely amazing. So I'm going to get all set up guys, and then I will come back to you with what my thoughts are, how I'm going to go about it. I've got to make up a spod mix and all that sort of stuff. I'm probably going to have to be casting and spodding from in the water, I think guys, so I'll let you know about all that. Alright guys, so obviously I'm Hunt's Corner Peg 9. Now it's quite waterlogged in the swim, so the actual platform is all underwater. So I've had put the old waders on, which I think I've probably only used once or twice, and I'm going to have to go out, investigate how far I can go out to, how deep it is just beyond that point. So I thought I'd film it. Typically if I'm going to fall over or something, this will be the time, so I'm sure you want it on camera. So I'm going to have a little investigation guys. I'm also thinking I'll take the goalposts out of the rod pod and see where I can best position them, where I can at least get the rods out. Okay guys, well I'm going to fast forward all this bit because it is staying painstakingly slow. Essentially I'm trying to find somewhere that I can put my net holder in, so I'm using 2 extended poles because it really is deep at that point where the water's come up over the swim so far. So this is just me trying to get the net holder in, or the 2 poles for the net holder. After that, it was my intention to use the goalposts out of my rod pod, but after messing around for quite a while I realised it wasn't going to happen. Essentially the goalposts were long enough that they would go in, but the problem was trying to, because it is actually a sort of stoned platform there, I wasn't going to be able to push them in. so I was going to need to hammer them in, but obviously the level of it was below the water, so hammering it in wasn't going to be an option. I then reverted back to the rod pod, started getting it all adjusted up so the alarms weren't in the water, and then obviously I needed to secure it somehow, so I found a bungee cord and a tent peg basically, and that's why you see me on my knees trying to push it down into the ground to stabilise everything. Not exactly what you want first thing really, guys.
Flipping heck, that's cold.
Alright guys, so I've mostly got set up. I probably will take the camera off the stand in a minute and show you. No, actually let's do it now guys. So I spent a bit of time trying to find how I was going to have my net holder and my rod pod. I was going to do singles, or at least goalposts, but as you can see this is all water here, so I've actually used it on the pod. It just meant I could get a lot more height on it guys, and then I've just sort of bungee corded it down to the floor and put water in it, so that should be okay. And I've got my net holder there. I've got two nets here guys that are going to blow around a bit, but I might stick them in a bit more. But yeah, 2 nets there guys in case I need them. Wishful thinking I know, but you never know. And so that's the swim really, but now that's my water. I need to find some spots, so case of getting the lead on the marker float, just put new line and leader on it, so hopefully it won't crack off. I have seen a couple of vlogs that have kind of given me an indication of going out about 12 wraps to the left and right rods and 15 and a half I think to the middle, so I'm going to lead about at those distances first, see if it's clear or not. If it is, then I'm not going to change it, I'm stick with that. Okay guys, so I then began leading about, investigating the swim. Now I won't bore you with it, it's about half an hour's worth of filming, but what I will say is I was trying out new spod line, the quarter spod line actually, the £20 spod line with the £30 armour cord, and this was kind of the start of a bad weekend for me with this stuff. And it wasn't 100, which I found out towards the end, it wasn't 100% just fault of the line, but it is a 0.16 line, and that's really part of my problems. I'm glad that happened before I had the spod on. Alright guys, so I had a few casts with the zig float just to see if it was always releasing. It does look like it was always releasing, so I'm happy enough and confident enough to put it out now. So here we go. Okay guys, so that went out simple enough, and all you would have seen is once it landed, tightened down to the lead, put it on the stand, and then let out another few feet. So it's just, I've got a mark on there that I know where it's 1 foot up to where the alarm is. So that's now set at 6 foot, black zig with the adjustable impact zig float. That should be releasing liquid up into the water column, going upwards towards that zig. Fingers crossed I can get one. Hi guys, so I've done a bit of leading around. I've found a few spots I'm happy to go to, and now I want to put a bit of bait out. I've put on my right hand rod I've put an adjustable zig, that's the tracker impact zig float out, with what is effective a 6 foot zig on it, which is about mid water. It's all black, so I want to make a bit of mix to go over the other 2 rods. So I'm going to start with a bit of Monster Party Mix, which has been frozen, thawed out. I'm only going to put half of this in, guys. I'm not looking to make loads and loads, but half of that will do for now. Sort that back up. To that, I'm going to add the number one thing, frozen corn. So we're going to put in the whole bag of that one. Happy days, all that corn. Get rid of that bag. To that, I want to put some additional hemp. And obviously some of their juices. Let's get that in. Yeah, that looks alright. And then to that, I want to add some 12mm Scopex squid, guys. Hopefully you see that, 12mm Scopex squid. So I'm going to add a good number of these as well. And then obviously, just give this all a good mix, guys. Bring the party mix up from the bottom. Now, I am led to believe that here, they like a bit of nut. So, to that mix, which looks a bit boily rich, I will admit, but I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to add some Bait Solutions Total Nuts spod syrup. This stuff's great. I don't think you can actually get enough of this. It smells amazing as well. It's really good stuff, guys. I don't have much of it though, unfortunately. So let's give this all a mix in. Get that flavour all the way around. Oh, yeah, that smells good. Oh, yeah. Look at that, guys. Absolutely happy days. Right, let's get spodding. Let's get some out on the spots. Come off. Cracked off. Alright guys, just to give you a bit of an update and a bit of a laugh. So it's 2:30 and I don't have a rod in the water currently. I did have. I put my first rod out, which was a zig, 6-foot zig. I then started baiting up my other two spots, at which point my spod cracked off. Well, actually it didn't crack off, the knot didn't hold. So I've just recently moved over to the Corda Spawn braid, which is a 20-pound braid, paired with the 30-pound armour cord. And I'll be honest, when I was leading around, I lost the lead and the leader. And now I'm doing 6-turn back-to-back grinner knots, which I normally do, which is normally okay. It's just not holding. So I spoke to a couple of the guys along the other bank, and they're saying you might want to move to 50-pound armour cord, which I've got. So I'm going to be doing that in a second. But here's the bit to give you a laugh. So my spod come off near the other side. The wind was driving it into the other bank, so I went for a walk around the other bank. Yes, I'm looking very red and hot. So I went for a walk around the other bank, guys. Waders on. Took me ages. Got round there. A guy in the other bank helped me find it. I thought, right, let me walk out, go round the bush line. Yeah, that wasn't the right move, guys. So seemed alright. Oh shit, I'm in the swim. Yeah, so water down the front of the waders, I had my phone in there, top soaked. I think I dipped my face briefly. Lovely guy in the other bank. You alright mate, do you need any help? No, I was alright, obviously I could get back out. But it did mean everything is soaked, so it just means I've had to go for a trip back to the van, get spare clothes and everything, come back, and now I've got to start all over again. I'm going to put the £50 armour cord on that spod braid and hopefully not friggin' lose another spom. Fortunately I did bring the spare, so it was the X spod that's gone, but I brought the dot spod, I think it's called, the Nash one anyway. I brought that as a spare and I'm glad I did. So right, I'm going to get that all sorted guys, because I need to get the rods out. Afternoon guys, yep, I did say afternoon. So I've had some dramas today guys and I'm telling you so you could have a good giggle about it. So first off, when I was leading around, sorry, let me back up a bit. So I've just recently respooled my spod and marker rod. So I've used quarter spod braid and as suggested the £30 armour link. Used a 6-turn back-to-back grinner knot, which I've done loads of times, never had much of any dramas with them. And halfway through leading about, I lost the leader and the lead. So I was like, crap, okay. Put another leader on, same one, £30 armour cord, and found the spots. Halfway through spodding some mix out, I lose my spom. So it's an X spod, and it's over the other bank somewhere. Hopefully the guys may have pulled it out for me now. So then the dramas with that was, I could see it was going to be going over to the other side. So with my waders, I trudge all the way over the other side. See it, well actually, an angler on the other side spotted it for me, thank you. So decided, right, I'll go in, walk around this bush and retrieve it. Yeah, mistake number one guys. So firm footing, okay, looks a little bit deeper, let me try it. Yeah, all the way in the swim guys, soaking wet. I'll probably show you a picture of my trousers on top of my bivvy at the minute, not that they're going to dry out, but I've just put them up there anyway. So yeah, after that I didn't retrieve it because I couldn't get to it, so hopefully it will just go into their bank and one of them will pull it out for me later. Fortunately I did bring another spod with me as a spare, and I always have spares in the van anyway. So then trudge all the way back, get the keys for the van, go to the van, go get spare clothing and come back. So this time I've got Connor here this week, so he's in peg 10, so I thought I'd ask check if he had some £50 armour cord, which is what a couple of guys have said they've used, and he did, so I've put that on. Give it a really good few hard casts with a lead on, seems alright. So now I'm using the dot spod and baited up my 3 spots, which I'm going to show you now, and then I've got the rods out basically. So it's 3:30. I've been here from 10 o'clock and I've only just got all 3 rods out. So first thing I'll show you is guys, it's an extremely wet and muddy swim, so I have to wear waders to go and deal with the rods and for putting out spoms and all that. So I'm in waders currently, which I don't use that often if I'm honest. So first thing, I'm also doing a review this weekend on the Tracker Impact Zig float. So that's on my right hand rod, about 12 wraps. Now if I just go literally directly in front of me guys, it's not going to be great I'm afraid, because obviously it's quite a bit of distance away. But if you see the 3 trees that are in the middle of the screen now, I'm going to try and point, I don't know how good or bad it's going to come out. So that one and that one, those are my spots. 12 wraps out. This one over here is a black Zig, which is set to 6 foot. It's about 11 foot over there. The middle one is a pop-up corn in a solid PVA bag. The last one is a imitation cell boilie, which again acts like a wafter basically. So all of them at 12 wraps. I may be going the middle one to 15 wraps, but not tonight. That would be tomorrow. I've put 5 spoms over each of them, so not lots, and I've put some flavouring in with the Zig float that you can with those. So that's where we are. I'm not going to do anything else now. I still haven't got my bivvy fully ready. I'll spin the camera around. You can I'll give you a little walk around. Why not I do that, guys? Because it'll give you a bit of laugh to see my trousers on the bivvy. So, alright, let's take that off. It's probably going to be really too close for everything. So, we've got the bivvy, look, proper mud, squelchy mud here, guys. It's really bad. So, got the bivvy, dot spod. Yes, those are my trousers on top there. No reason for it. They're not going to dry out in this. It's not sunny enough. But everything in there is mayhem at the minute, guys. Really muddy, Matt. Everything everywhere. I've sorted nothing. So, chairs here, barrows there. I've still got lots to sort out. So, I'm going to crack on and do that while I've still got some daylight, guys. As you can see, there's a swim. It's all underwater. It is hard here. Yeah, I think you can see that. So it is hard there, but it's underwater. I've also got a bungee holding the rod pod down. It is fairly firm, but I just rather hold it down. Also, the tips are in the water because there are swans here, so I've got tips down, no back leads or anything. It's just straight out, and a couple of nets sitting up there. So fingers crossed I can bring you a fish tonight. I really do hope so. It's been a lot of effort today, and I totally admit to all of you guys, I am not used to coming to bigger fisheries like this and doing proper fishing. You know, I'm used to my smaller lakes. I like the smaller intimate lakes, to be fair. That is my preference, but it's good to test yourself, innit, guys? And that's definitely what I'm doing here. I'm really happy with all the prep I've done. I would have shown you my spod mix. I've got 3 different methods out today. I've put some real flavourings into everything I've got out there, so I'm really hopeful, guys. So fingers crossed I can get one for you, or even more than one would be nice, this weekend on the bank. Stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching.
Morning, guys. Yep, so that lack of footage during the night has meant I didn't catch anything, and obviously as soon as I'm up this morning I'm thinking about what I've done wrong. And to be fair, I probably actually did do something wrong. So I clipped the spod and rods up at the same 12 wraps. And to be fair, I would normally be fishing in about 11 foot of water, but I think with the water up as high as it is, I'm probably in about 13.5 foot of water. So I'm guessing I've kind of dropped my spod mix here at the 12 wraps. And my bait is, or my rig is probably about here somewhere, a little bit closer. So I'm gonna have to redo that today. I have actually got the rods in at the minute. I needed a comfort break and needed to go back to the van. So obviously I brought the rods in. It was dark at that point. It's starting to get light now. I had my comfort break, and on that front, guys, you know, if you're going places and all, fishing, and you're not sure what the toilet facilities are like, it's really, and you've got a van, it's really worthwhile buying one of those like portable loos that you can take with you. Mine's only a cheap one. It was like £22 off of eBay or whatever, but I know it holds up to 20 stone or whatever. It holds my weight, so it's really good. And it's just a case of putting a bag in the bottom and then, you know, tying it up with a couple of bags. But for the convenience of having your own toilet when you go somewhere new, really handy, guys. I can thoroughly recommend it. And when you need to go, don't you? So yeah, so I've got the rods out. I've come back, made myself a coffee. I didn't want to have a coffee while I was trying to go loo, because that ain't a good situation. So what am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to put the lead rod out again and just see if maybe I might, where I've gone everything out at 12 wraps, I might kind of stagger them a bit. So maybe one at 10, one at 12, one at 15. So I'm probably going to go for that approach today and just cover 3 different areas going across the lake in case, you know, they're not coming exactly across me. I'll be honest, I didn't get any liners last night. I didn't back lead here. I have got my rod tips down in the water because of the swans here. I didn't get a single liner, so, you know, I thought I should have there should have been some travelling fish that would have hit one of the lines, but no, at the minute, no. So a little bit surprised by that. I might actually just chuck a sneaky, cheeky bag close in the margin, actually. I know the crays are here, but I've got plastic corn on, so I'm not that bothered by it. So I might just underarm cast a little bag. I know the margins are meant to be good here. I can wade out a little bit, side cast it to the margins. I think initially I'm going to do that. I'm going to whack solid PVA bag just over to the side. I might put like a scoop, throw a scoop over there or 2. Yeah, I think that's the plan. So I might put solid bag over in the margin here. I'm obviously testing that impact zig. I'm not sure whether the liquid's actually coming out of that or not, so I might need to use a liquid that's a bit more runny. I was using a liquid zig's liquid, and I think it's meant to, you know, come out slowly, but I think on that I'm not actually certain it's come out. I don't know, I might need to take the cap off and just have a look. I mean, maybe it's just stained, but yeah, not certain on that one. Yeah, I think that's the plan. I think I'll quickly find a few spots on lead. To be fair, most of what I found out there is clear. I haven't brought back any weed at all, so that's important to know if you're coming here, guys. Little bit of chod a couple of times, but that's nothing I'm worrying about. Also, I'm probably going to change one of my rigs to a pop-up today as well. Seems the guy on the other bank caught on a pop-up, so it's worth a try, isn't it, guys? So that's your Saturday morning update. I haven't heard anything from Connor, so I've got to believe he hasn't had anything. I know if he'd had a fish, he would be sending me pictures and he'd be on the phone, so I don't believe Connor's had anything. And apart from that one fish yesterday, I'm not sure anyone else has had anything. The guys opposite were obviously having a bit of a social last night till all hours, so they had a fire going, which I've got to be honest, I was well envious, guys. Oh yeah, sorry guys, while I'm mentioning it, or while I'm thinking about it, so I did all the necessary prep before coming here, calling the bailiff, speaking to him about the craze, spots, what's the swim like, will I need waders, wellies, blah blah blah. And I was told, yeah, you probably need wellies, mate. Yeah, no, you need waders here 100%. And to that end, for any of you guys that have been in waders for a good amount of time, you'll know they're not the warmest. Your feet are cold. When you're in that water, it's cold. And if you're in there for a long amount of time, like I was spodding yesterday, friggin' hell, my toes were starting to cramp up and everything. That's how cold it was, guys. So the other thing as well, because I'm not very flexible, I'm big, I'm portly, I've got a belly on me, trying to jump into waders at silly o'clock in the morning when you want to run to your rods isn't for me. I'm gonna fall over, I'm not gonna be quick enough to get to the rod, and all those things worry me. So I've kept the waders on, and anyone that wears waders knows it's not, you know, it's crap wearing waders. They're hot, they're sweaty, smelly, so not good. So I would have liked to have known beforehand that I did need waders, because there might be people that turn up here not knowing the conditions of the swim, maybe not even bringing wellies. You know, I see a lot of guys out in trainers or just small boots and that sort of thing, and I normally wear boots. Here you need, I can't even say wellies at a minimum, to be fair, guys, because when I was putting out to the end of where my swim is meant to be, it was above knee height. So you can't get away with wearing wellies, I don't think, here, guys. To land the fish, you want to be off where the sleeper is and the slightly deeper water. You can't really net it in anything like, you know, 1 foot of water. That's just not going to be any good for anyone. So, or, you know, 1.5 foot of water, that's not going to work. So you need to be to the edge of where the swim is meant to be, and for that you need waders. So just sort of word of warning, guys, if you're coming up here, double check whenever you're going anywhere, you know, what are the conditions of the swim here. I mean, I'm thankful that the lake is open, because Oxley's next door is shut, and how waterlogged that is not funny. That looks terrible, it really does. So totally understandable, but from what I've seen from a lot of these swims, it's surprised they're not shut off, to be honest. But here's what it is, guys, I'm glad to be fishing. Just hope I can bring you a fish. So I'm going to drink my coffee, watch the water a little bit. I haven't actually seen sorry guys, I've had this cough for like about a month now, I can't get rid of it. I have been watching the water and I haven't seen a single fish bosh out. Now, sound seems to travel really well on this lake, so even though I haven't heard them bosh out, I've heard the guys up that end, so to my right, say about the lump and all the rest of it. Oh, that's really boshed out. And so I believe they are definitely boshing out, definitely active anyway. And obviously, like I said yesterday, when I was coming back with my second load on the barra and I stopped at Connor's, an absolute unit boshed out, literally probably 2 rod lengths out from where we were, like crazy. And you know, that big, that close. And I was chatting to my mate Matt about it actually, and he said, well, yeah, but what you'll probably find is all the water level, because it's come up so much more, it's like a whole new area to them. What was too shallow for them to investigate before, now they're coming in to have a look. And you know what, it actually makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I definitely think I'm going to go a bit, put one rod in closer today. I'll have a rubber bait on it, so if the crays attack it, no big deal really. Alright guys, well that's your Saturday morning update. I want to get this coffee down me so I can quickly get the rods back out and hopefully bring you a fish. Hi guys,
You have to forgive me for looking all red hot and sweaty, because I am. So this morning what time is it now? Let's just give it, so it's 8 o'clock. Excuse me. So I've put one out in the margin with a couple scoops of bait that's close by. Just a solid PVA bag with a pop-up corn. The margins are bad for the crays here, so it needs to be a plastic bait minimum. So that's what's gone out. So I found a spot out, 15 wraps straight in front of me. I was at 12, I've gone to 15. Been spodding out before I put my rig out. And guess what, cracked off again. So this is like the third time now I've lost, I lost my X-bomb yesterday. It's gone over the other side, so hopefully I can collect it today. And today, I've lost that. Now, it wasn't out too far. I've done this a few times, and it does kind of go towards being an accurate caster. So, just using my normal rig, I've repeatedly cast out over the top of it, got my line to hit it, and then I think it took me about 5 casts, I was able to bring it back in. So accurate casting, guys, it can save your life. So I've got it back, and something very interesting, which is why I want to show you. So I thought my back-to-back grinner knot has been failing, and it turns out, it's probably not going to focus in on that, but the back-to-back grinner knot wasn't failing. So I've got the leader material here, which is 50-pound armour cord, and that's this 20-pound spod braid from Corda. So I think what's probably happening, I have clipped the trees a couple of times, and because that's like 0.16, I mean, it's strong, but I suspect if you hit anything, it's not so strong. So my mystery of, shit, has my grinner not been failing? No, it's not been failing, because I've used it loads of times without any problems, so the grinner knot's been good. It's that the line itself has been cracking off, which is a bit of a nightmare. So I'm not putting way too much force on it, so I can only think there is like some overhanging branches, and I must be slightly clipping them, and repeatedly casting is probably hitting the same sort of spot and cracking off. Because I mean, as you see, guys, there is quite a lot of the green line there, so I suspect that's probably what it is. What a bummer, eh? It's just about where I am. I mean, I can't really cast any other way to where I'm going, but, well, problem solved. So I'll just literally nick that, put it back on with a 5-turn back-to-back grinner, and I'm sure I'll be okay. Just thought I'd let you know, guys. Morning guys, so I had the Tracker Impact Zig Float kit out yesterday, set at 6 foot, and I didn't get anything, didn't get any liners either. So today I just thought I'd check that it is operating how I would expect it to. So to help me see it, I've put one of the high vis caps on, which I'll be honest is very easy to change over from whatever one you've got. I was on the clear yesterday, so I've gone to a bright yellow today. I'm just going to cast it out in front of me, pull down to the lead, and then hopefully release foot by foot and see the float pop up. That's what I'm looking for, guys. Alright guys, I don't think you can actually see it on camera, but the float has popped up and it's looking like it's about 8 foot there. Well, probably 8.5 foot, because there's obviously 6 inches on the boom section as well. So clearly it is working as it's meant to. Don't see any reason why not. I'm actually going to leave that yellow float on today, and so I'm going to try it at 10 wraps today. I did 12 yesterday. I'm going to try it at 10 wraps and probably the same sort of depth. Probably about 6, maybe even take it to 7 foot. Morning guys, so just giving you a bit of a Saturday morning update. So had some dramas again this morning with the spod coming off, but actually I found out it's actually the line that's going, my knot had held, so had to deal with that. So I've decided to change tactics a little bit today. I know the crays are prevalent in the margins, but I've put out some rubber corn in a solid PVA bag just to my margin over here, so just on the end of this tree, and with a couple of scoops of spod mix over it. The next is my middle rod, which is going out to, so where you see these 3 trees in the centre of the screen now, I've gone out to the middle one about 15 wraps, so we're talking close to the other side. I'm about there. The last one is I'm using the Tracker Impact Zig float, and I've got a black 3 foot zig on there, but I've set it using the adjustable zig at about 7 foot, and that's towards the 3rd tree, which is over there. So that's 10 wraps out, that one guys. So the main one is the middle one. I've put probably about 10 spods over it, but they're only those little Nash dot spods, so they're not big spods, so there's not a lot. And obviously I'll top it up during the day if hopefully I get any bites. Give you an update later guys. Hi guys, so I'm going to give you a Saturday afternoon update here on Hunt's Corner, peg 9 at Linear Fisheries. I've got to be honest guys, it's been absolute nightmares for me. I'm having one of those sessions where literally everything is going wrong. So going back to yesterday, I lost my X-spod. To be fair, most of my problems boiled down to the new spod line I've put on my spod rod, really. That's really been most of the problem. So lunchtime I decided I'd walk around to the other side again, see if the spod X-spod had gone into the side and anyone had picked it up for me. It was actually in the exact same spot where it was yesterday, so clearly it's still got my leader on it and it's tethered to something. And I did think about going and getting the bait boat and driving it round, but as one of the anglers over there pointed out, mate, you're more likely to get your boat snagged up in there and then you won't be able to get that. And you know what, he's probably right. So goodbye to an 18 pound spod, which I did actually like using. I did like using the X-spod, it's been pretty good. Fortunately I brought a spare. I mean, I have spare in the van, but I actually brought a spare to the swims. I've been using the Nash dot spod, which I never have any problems with. But I might quickly show you a little bit of a short here that I was going to upload and I haven't done yet because the signal here is crap. But I cracked off again earlier while putting out mix, and I was able to repeatedly cast over it with one of my other rods and reel it in. And I'm glad I did, because it allowed me to have a look. The leader was still on it, as was probably about 50 metres worth of the spod braid that I bought from Calder. So it's not the knots, my knots are failing, which, you know, was playing on my mind massively. It's the line keeps cracking off, and I've got a shock leader on it, all the rest. But I mean, there are two problems here. One, it's 0.16 diameter, so it's a very thin spod line, and I can tell you now, the minute I get home it's coming off. But I also think my distance sticks, the Nash ones, and they've got black caps on the end, and where I've banged it down in, it's flattened the cap out a bit, and I've just been running my finger around it and I think it's a little bit sharp, so when it's coming off the sticks it may be nicking that braid, and with the braid being so thin, sure enough, I'm casting and losing it. So I lost it earlier on in the day, so went back, got another spare spod just in case, come back and began spodding again to get out my spod mix for the night. So I was 7 wraps to the right, 15 wraps, well 14 and a half wraps to my middle rod, and at that point it cracked off again. So again, it's not my knots, don't know if it'll focus or not, but leader on this side and about 3-4 inches of braid on the other. So it's not going at the knot at any point, it's going at the braided side. So that is coming off. So, you know, I'm sure it's brilliant stuff, but I can't get on with it, and it's now meant my third rod I've not been able to put any spod mix out, which I'm not happy about, but it is what it is. So I switched that rod over to a solid PVA bag. Oh yeah, sorry guys, I did say I'll let you know everything that's going wrong. So I switched over to a solid PVA bag, went for a big one, because obviously I'm not putting any other bait out with it. Really happy with it. Thought, right, I'm really going to send this, give it a good whack, crack, that's off. Totally forgot that when I'd been using that rod to retrieve the spod, as closer I got it, I was clipping up so I could easily get back to the same spot and then reel in again. I must have been clipped up about 4 rod lengths out, and I've literally just whacked it to really send it as far as I could. Ping! That's off. Then when I was making up, so I made up another solid bag, then as it was on my lap, that fell over, the lead fell out, hook went straight into my finger, mix all over the bed chair. It's like, it's one of those times guys when everything is going wrong. So for the second day on the trot, I'm at Linear and it's 3:30 when I've got my rods back out. Do you know what I mean? It's an absolute nightmare. Plus obviously, you know, the swim's all muddy and squelchy and all that. It's not ideal conditions, but if I'm honest guys, I'm a little bit happier. So I have kind of gone out to the same, well no, I've gone out to the same, my markers are the same 3 trees as yesterday. I've just gone out at different distances. So I'll probably end up swinging the camera around and showing you in a minute, but The right hand rod is a solid PVA bag, which has gone out 7 wraps with a pop-up corn, and I'm happy with that. The middle rod has gone out 15 wraps, and that's on a double tiger nut, and that's got a good amount of spod mix around that, so I'm happy with that. And then the left hand rod, forgetting my left and right there guys, so my left hand rod's out about 11 wraps, and I'm happy with that. You know, so that's where they're going to stay now guys. I've probably got about an hour and a half. It's, you know, getting darker just a little bit later now, so I've probably got about an hour and a half. I've got to tidy up in here a little bit. This is going to go back in the barra. Look at that, all that leader material. This is going to go back in the barra. My reel's going to go back in the barra. I don't know what I just done with the reel actually. It's here somewhere, but yeah, this stuff guys, I can tell you what, this is coming off of this when I get home. No way is that staying on there. I may just take, I don't know, 150 metres of it off and then put something else on there. Never had these problems before, and it's an absolute friggin' nightmare. So, pray into those carp gods that I can bring you a fish before I leave. I know, actually, I think it's meant to start raining at about 5 o'clock this evening, all the way through till tomorrow evening. So, fingers crossed the banks don't rise. I might just swing the camera around and show you how close the water is to me anyway. So, that's as zoomed in as I can go with this lens guys. So, yeah, I'm only here, so there's not a lot of, you know, if it swells up a hell of a lot, then yeah, I could end up being inundated. But fingers crossed that won't happen. Right, let's swing it back round to me guys. So, I think I'm just going to have a little tidy up in here. It's not far off 4 o'clock, which is when I like to have my second cup of coffee of the day guys, and I'd say watch the water, but I'll be honest guys, I haven't seen a single fish in my swim. I've heard them bosh out down the other end, and the guys when I walked around earlier said, oh yeah, there's loads of fish down there. I spoke to one guy who's on the very end peg, I think it might be like 8, it must be 8 because I'm 9, so peg 8, and he's had 2, so happy days for him. There's quite a few guys over the other guys having a social, so they were like having a good laugh and a joke and all last night up to about 12:30 or whatever. But I did get some sleep last night, so I'm kind of looking forward to getting the same tonight, if I'm honest guys. Right, anyway, I've got to tidy up a little bit, put a few things away, get ready for the rain. So hopefully I can bring you another update later saying, yay, I've caught a fish. I'm praying that's the case guys. If it is, I will use this camera, but what I'll do, I'll bring the cradle in front of my bivvy and just get on my knees and do it out there. So really praying guys, really praying. Fingers crossed I can bring you a fish. Alright guys, so Saturday evening update, and as you can see, Connor's only got another lovely £15 common out of peg 10. Well done Connor. Morning guys, so Sunday morning, 5:30, and obviously with that lack of footage it means I haven't had any fish. This has been one of those weekends, I'm not going to lie, it has been incredibly hard. Multiple things have been going wrong, and I don't think that's necessarily the reason why I haven't caught, but it's definitely added to my stress levels this weekend. The main thing really has been just put new line on my spod rod. That's been snapping off. I was going to say cracking off, but it hasn't cracked off. That's been snapping off numerous times, causing me to lose my X-spod. That's in snags over the other side. I'm not going to be able to get that. The dot spod came off a couple of times, and only fortunately with accurate casting over the top and then winding in, casting, winding in, I've been able to retrieve that each time, and that's told me that okay, my knots have been holding, but the line's been snapping. Now, I inspected my, I'm not going to say it's 100% the line if I'm honest guys. I've now come to realise that I've got Nash banking sticks, and on the top there's like a black bit of plastic, and where I've been banging it down, that's caused it to squash over the sides of the pole, and in places there's some little sharp edges. So I'm guessing that as I'm reeling in from doing my wraps,
that's slightly nicking the line, and where the line is 0.16 diameter, it's just not hardy enough, you know, to take any sort of cuts or stuff like that. Sorry guys. And that's what's been causing me all the stress. So yeah, I mean, there's been a catalogue of things. I've lost a solid PVA bag rig where I was trying to get the spod back, and then I was clipping up, forgot about myself clipping up, and then done another PVA bag, thought right, let's get this out, full guns. Yeah, that cracked off, that was bad. Then filling a solid PVA bag up after that, that fell off my lap all over the bed chair, and as it fell out, as the leaden hook fell out of the bag, that went in my finger. So that was fun. It's just been one of them weekends, guys. You know, when everything goes wrong, it goes wrong, and this has been one of them weekends. So I've lost numerous hours walking around the lake trying to deal with this spod, or reeling in trying to bring in the other spods. So yeah, it's been an absolute nightmare this weekend, and obviously I haven't had any fish. And I will say, on sessions like this, guys, where there's been like lots of adversity from getting here and having to do 2 trips, and they're quite long trips, 2 long trips with the barrow in muddy conditions to get to your swim, then you haven't actually got a swim that isn't underwater. It's been a nightmare. So I've had to stay in the waders the whole weekend, which has been annoying, and obviously it's sweaty, it's, you know, it's horrible living in waders, so that's not been fun. I've had to repeatedly keep checking through the night that the water level's not risen so much to come up to my alarms, which fortunately it hasn't. There's a riverbank right behind me, and I've been worried about that overflowing with this continuous rain. And then the amount of prep with regards to bait, rigs, you know, spod mix and all that, you know, I've put a bit of effort into this session, I will say, guys. I've, you know, been testing the Tracker Impact Zig float kit as well, so I've been doing quite a bit, and to not get any rewards is heartbreaking, guys. I've got to tell you, this session's been a hard session, and to finish it all off, you've got this rain. It's not going to be letting up. It's heavy rain, and in probably about an hour or so I'm going to start packing up to be off by 9 o'clock, and obviously everything is going to be wet, so it's going to all go into the van wet, so that's going to be smelling for a few days. It's all got to come out sorry guys, it's all got to come out when I get back, and then you've got to find somewhere to try dry it all. So gonna be an absolute nightmare, guys, gonna be an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm not even going to say I'm watching the water, guys, because I haven't. I've got it up because it's raining so heavy. I've got the door up, which another thing I hate. I really hate having my door up, but it is what it is. So I'll give you another update before I go, guys, but it's not looking promising, I'm afraid. You know, it's one of those weekends you think, oh, I probably would be better off at home or spending the time with Emma, but this is what we love, you know. You know, even though I have blanked, I do love being on the bank. I haven't loved all the dramas of the weekend, but being on the bank fishing, I have loved. And surprisingly, I have actually been able to sleep in the waders a bit more than I would normally if I wasn't in them. So that's a bit weird, but alright guys, let me give you a bit more of an update later. Well, alright guys, I did go and forget to do a closure, first time ever. So, just going to show you a few shots along with Connor's £30 carp that he managed to catch 7 o'clock Sunday morning just as we're meant to be leaving. So well done, Connor. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It is free to subscribe and it really helps me out. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to be notified of future posts, please hit that bell icon. So only leaves me to say, stay safe, stay fishing, and I'll see you in the next vlog.